I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cause of a Kind. We build software and websites for you. One of the things I don't build is hardware, but man, am I fascinated with hardware. If you just look around your world, like you can even see a device right above my head right now, hardware runs our life. Think about your wearables, think about your devices, think about your home and all of the automations and the things that are happening in your environment, everywhere you go, in your vehicles, in our malls, in our stores, everywhere. And so as a consumer, as an individual just walking this earth, I'm just strictly fascinated with hardware. Now, I'm a software guy, I'm a web guy. It's what I sling, it's what's made my business, it's everything that I talk about on a daily basis. And of course, hardware and software have a relationship. But man, I am not the guy to come to if you have an idea for a new hardware solution. But I decided to bring one of those guys here on the show for today, somebody that has a very niche specialty, somebody that has decided to focus on a problem and create a solution and is now in countries having traction and is solving a problem that I think common public culture is very aware of. And so we're going to unpack that story today. Derek Peterson of Solder Technologies, founder and CEO. Welcome to this episode of Strictly from Nowhere. It's a pleasure not only to host you on the show, but also to have met you at Accelerate Long Island, a beautiful networking event here locally for us. Shout out to Dan Lloyd for putting connections together and making new friendships and relationships.
Absolutely.
And so, Derek, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to unpack your zero to market story.
Thanks for having me, Justin. It's a pleasure to be here. And
Yeah,
speaking of Accelerate Long Island, you have the best opening pitch when you gave me a $2 business card. That was
you're right.
fantastic. That was just amazing.
There it is. There it is.
I tell
There it
everybody
is.
about that intro.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It definitely takes one to riff on that scenario. Sometimes I give it to people and they're like, is this extortion? Is this, a bribe? I've tried to give that to like local politicians on accident with no other option in my pocket. I don't have a regular business card. So thanks for being gracious and bobbing and weaving with me. And yeah, I have some cheeky one-liners to go along with that if you shake my hand.
Yeah, that was clever. I give
I
it to you.
appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Well, as I always do, I love to kick off these episodes learning a little bit about you, what makes you unique, and a little bit about your human experience before we get into business.
Sure. What makes me unique is that I'm still here.
Yeah, me too, man.
Seriously. I am that guy, the type A personality. I'm a gym rat. I'm in the gym every morning, at least 2 hours. A good day, I'm in the gym for 3 hours between 5 and 8 a.m.
Good for you.
I'm a multi-time Ironman finisher.
Wow.
Done them all over the world. I'm a marathoner, endurance runner. That's who I am. So when you and I'm highly competitive, so I never back down from any challenge. If you tell me I can't do something, just give me a week. We're going to figure out how to get it done. And so I am that guy.
This is going to be a hell of an episode because what a relationship to entrepreneurship. Having that discipline to show up at the gym on a daily basis, that could be synonymous with the workhorse required to be a good entrepreneur. Having not to back down from challenges. We're going to talk all about some of those things that you have stood in front of to try and find your way through business. I'd love to get an idea of the entrepreneur behind Derek, though. Like if you blast yourself back to being a young person, what was like your earliest experience with entrepreneurship?
So earliest experience being an entrepreneur, when I'm thinking about being an entrepreneur, is I remember asking my father growing up, I want a bike for my birthday, and he told me, "Once you go earn it,"
Yeah.
and that just frustrated me. And I said, "You know what? I'm never going to ask you for another thing again. I'll make my own money." So therefore, in junior high school, I started selling candy.
Okay.
I'd go to a distributor, buy these lollipops for 5 cents each, and I sell them for 25 cents, and I became known as the Candy Man. And I saved enough money to buy myself a bike.
Wow.
So that was the first experience of being an entrepreneur. Without even thinking, I wanted a bike. And I wasn't going to ask anybody for it. So I'll make my own money.
I love that. And a hell of a margin too.
It was a great margin.
you did some things right. You bought low, sold
That was
high.
totally by accident. I said,
Yeah, they were really, really smart. Well, let me ask you, the journey of entrepreneurship, sometimes it falls in people's laps. Sometimes it's super intentional. I know for me, I always knew I was going to end up as an entrepreneur. I often talk about on the show, I come from 7 generations of entrepreneurship, maybe even more. Who the hell keeps track? So I always knew I was going to get here.
I was not thinking about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I cut my teeth climbing the corporate ladder in a publicly traded company.
Hmm.
where I became a VP of engineering. I had hundreds of thousands of people reporting to me, and I was there for about 16 years.
Wow.
And I had a really nice job. I mean, it was a dream job, traveling all around the world and so forth. When I stopped short, people bumped into me because they were trying to kiss up to me and so forth. It was just I had that job. However, I knew there was more I can do, and I was getting bored.
Hmm.
And instead of me getting into trouble, I said, I spoke to the founder of the company. I said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. He blessed me and said, go ahead, start your first company. And if you get in any trouble, just come back.
Hmm.
We can always use you back here. So
Wow.
therefore, I had a golden parachute. I can always just come back if I
Sure.
fail.
Yeah.
3 startups later, I've not failed. And over
Man,
25
God
years
bless.
ago, I'm like, I'm still doing it. So I left there and I started my first company. And again, I start companies based off of a problem. I identify a problem in a marketplace, and I say, can I go solve that problem?
Hmm.
A lot of people start a business without trying to solve a problem. They go find a problem for what they have. So my first company was called Computers by Design, aka CBD, and we made library software.
Hmm.
This is back in the early 90s,
Wow.
mid 90s, I would say. And we made library software to manage public computers in libraries. So you
Hmm.
walk into a library, you want to use the public computer there, you need some software tool to manage that experience. I wrote the first software product to manage that experience. And before you know it, we were partying like rock stars, grew a staff,
Wow.
grew a customer base, 3,000 libraries across the country.
Wow.
It was a great ride. But
And
you
this
would
was like
never,
pay for time on the computer or like secure
you could,
browsing
you
or
could pay for time on the computer. We can limit your browsing. We also charge for printing. We did the whole manage the whole experience. You walk with your library card, you enter your library ID into the machine, to the computer. Then we unlock it for you. And then we're going to charge you for your time using the machine. We can charge you for printing and so forth. We managed. So I created that. I was the first, the package was called Cybrarian, and it was the first product out there in the market like that.
wow. Wow. How'd you identify the problem?
I happened to be doing one of my friends' wife was a director of a library, and they actually had some issues with the library in regards to networking. And
Hmm.
like I said, I was kind of getting bored at my day job. And so, you know what? I know about networks. I'm a tech guy. I run an engineering company right now. I said, "Yeah, I'll swing by and see what I can do." So I fixed their network, and then I started looking at other problems. They're saying we got these other problems. We're getting these computers coming in from Microsoft. It was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They were
Okay.
giving away computers,
Sure.
and so they gave computers to the libraries, and libraries had no tools to manage these computers. And so people are literally fighting to use the machines. There would be long lines, and nobody would get off the machine. They would sit there for hours, and nobody would get off. And so
Hmm.
they needed some version of time control on the machines.
Wow.
So the nature of an engineer is to solve a problem. So I see the problem. I say, you know what? I can fix that with software. And I'm a software guy by trade. My degree is in computer science.
Wow.
So I was always a programmer. So I said, let me write a package for this and see if it'll work. I wrote my first package for it, sold to the library, and the next thing you know, another library wanted it, another library wanted it. And what the thing about libraries is that they don't compete against each other. They tell each other what they're doing.
Yeah.
So word just spread. And before you know it, I'm coast to coast with my software, and I'm on plane, trains, automobile, doing demos and so forth.
Wow. This is these are like these quintessential moments, and I think you have some great advice, especially considering that the audience is really budding entrepreneurs or folks that are serial entrepreneurs looking to identify the next big thing that they want to put their time into. I love how you're taking a look at what the real world has. You're really listening to friends and family and what your network is talking about, and how can I stitch together a meaningful solution. Now, you told me a couple minutes ago that 3 startups later, here we are. So that's number 1.
Yeah.
You want to tell me what the other 2 are and how you transitioned? Were they in the similar library vertical? Like,
Oh no,
I know that's nothing like what you're doing now. So what's the story?
everything's totally different.
Everything's different.
Everything's
I
totally
love
different.
it.
So I left that because I kind of got bored. I want to do something different.
Seeing a pattern.
Some friends of mine asked me to work with them and join a company and help build a company called engineering services company called IPS.
Okay.
And so we took from 4 guys, we grew that to about 110 guys.
Wow.
Multiple offices across the country. And what we were engineering services. So you came to us as smart people, men and women, and we can design for you any product you ever thought about. Anything you want. You name it, we can
Software?
make it. Software, hardware.
Oh, wow.
We built a team of software engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and so forth. And we were just
Oh, wow.
the hired guns to come onto a site. Or you came to us with an idea. Derek, I want to make a better cell phone. Can you do that for us? Absolutely.
Sure. Great.
There was
Wow.
virtually nothing we couldn't do. I did that for roughly about 8 years, also 8, 9 years, and I wanted to get back into the product market because I was a services-based company.
Sure.
So we were just churning around, just cranking out projects after project after
I
project.
know it. I know it well.
So that was a hustle. But then I wanted to get back into the product world, and I started developing. So you mentioned you're a software guy. So by trade, I am a software person. So when Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat were just starting really to come up, I started writing software to help schools identify when there are threats against people.
Oh, interesting.
Specifically bullying.
Bullying.
What a software product called Digital Fly. And what Digital Fly did, looked at any threats against teachers, students, or anybody. And once we identified that threat from a social media post, we geotagged it on the map and we alert the authorities. And it all happened automatically.
Wow.
And we were selling that to schools. So I took that product with me and formed a company called Digital Fly. After the product's name, we started selling that to schools. Schools then asked, can you help us with this other physical fighting and bullying going on? And so I said, all right, nature of engineers, solve a problem. What problem, how am I going to do this? I can put a sensor in a bathroom that picks up on audible sounds. And with a little bit of software, I can detect the highs and lows and listen to the human voice range, not with no microphones, only decibel level, and pick up when somebody's being bullied.
Wow.
We did that in about 2016. Then in 2017, schools asked us, we got another problem. Kids are vaping, smoking e-cigarettes. Can you help us with that? I said, oh, I don't smoke. I'm very much protecting my lungs. I'm an athlete. Don't do any of that stuff. Yeah, nature of an engineer, solve a problem. Let's see what we can do. I think we got something. So we started designing our first product that we call FlySense. And I think we got something now. So I said, we're going to change the name of the company because we're going to go more hardware focused. So we rebranded ourselves to become Sator Technologies. And Sator comes from the Greek god Sateras, the Greek god of safety. So we figured we're going to do everything we can to keep kids safe. And so we released our first product in 2017 called FlySense. And now today we're on our 8th edition of it. It gets mounted in schools, bathrooms all over the world. We're in 50 countries, all over the United States.
Wow.
Ship 1,000 a month or somewhere like that. It's been great.
Wow. And so this is all kind of happening. You talk about like 2017. It's really kind of the advent of AI revolution. You were talking about like the bullying hardware that's in bathrooms. That's all without like catching any transcription. You're just doing that based on like decibel level, which is like
Absolutely.
Voices are raised. There must be some chaos, even if it's a false alarm. Somebody go take a look. So now how has like, large language impacted the product that you're creating? Is on the roadmap? Is it part of what you guys do?
No, it is. So now we do predictive analysis. So now we tell schools before the event happens.
Wow.
So they get the principal will get an early warning, a text message to them that we predict that vaping or bullying is going to happen at this time based off past history.
Wow. Isn't it a wild world, man?
That was totally crazy. Absolutely. I never thought I'd be like the vape guy.
Well, you're the anti-vape guy.
The anti-vape guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anybody watching this that's a parent that has kids that are vaping, just put one of these in your house.
Parents call us all the time to do that.
Now you have a consumer product. You're going to be like QVC.
I don't know about that.
Oh my God. Well, this is an amazing story. And like, so now I really want to talk about some of the trials and tribulations. Everything here is, very blue sky so far. You find a problem, create a solution, but we're talking like 8-year stints, 10-year stints. We're talking like, these are career worthy. Any one of these businesses you could have done for a lifetime. And maybe what you're working on right now will take you forward to extraordinary for a successive business or whatever. But I'm sure you've been punched in the face a few times. I'm sure you've taken your licks along the way. And so this show is really about taking businesses from zero to market, finding your foot, finding your traction, your first customers. You have some interesting ones, which are schools don't just buy anything. They're very selective in who they partner with from a reputation perspective, from quality assurance. They need recommendations from other schools. You have central school districts, like all sorts of struggles in getting into a school district. And maybe that story begins with Digital Fly.
Yes.
And maybe that makes it a little bit easier from a credibility perspective to try and get
Right.
solder technology solution into schools. So I'd love to know,
Mhm.
talk about finding a problem and building a solution for it from a customer acquisition perspective. How do you find traction? How do you go and build a product with the assumption that somebody's going to buy it? This is a little bit different than like, vibe coding some software at a $0 expense. You got to kind of build proof of concept and prototype, and I got to work my way into a sellable partnership. So tell me a little bit about from the trials and tribulations
Well,
perspective.
first thing you always got to do, like I mentioned, you have to identify a problem. So starting any business is like, what is the problem I'm
Sure.
solving?
Right.
A lot of people make a product, then go look for the problem.
True.
And,
Extremely
and
true.
so for customer acquisition, if I know if it's raining outside and I have a stack of umbrellas, I can sell them to you all day long. And so that's the easy customer acquisition. And so I start off, you know, already winning the race. I know, all right, you have a problem. I identified the market. X amount of people, X amount of libraries, X amount of schools have this exact same problem.
Mm-hmm.
Then I start doing a survey. If I build it, will you buy it? And so that's the before I do anything, I'm like, okay, if I'm
Smart.
gonna build this and spend all this time doing this, will you actually buy it?
Smart.
And 'cause otherwise, you have a fantasy land.
That's right.
You have a hope and a dream. I can show you a lot of products on the marketplace that just sounded good, but it's like, oh, what am I gonna do with that? And so I always thought, like, can I build this? If I build it, will they buy it? And fortunately for me, I have the talent pool myself and my engineers that I can turn a quick prototype that doesn't cost me thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I can create a sample. And now today with a lot of quick prototyping tools like 3D printing and stuff like
Sure.
that,
Right.
I can spin something rather quick, get something to market pretty quickly, and test the waters.
Hmm.
And so, truth be told, when I first built my first product for FlySense, version 1.0, I released it and I was immediately put on to Good Morning America. I did Good Morning America show, and the demonstration device that I had on the show had nothing in it. It was just a blank box. It was totally smoke and mirrors.
I love that. I love that.
But
Wow, wow,
I
wow.
didn't have full production product yet either.
Mm-hmm.
However, I trusted in myself and my team that we can do it.
Hmm.
And so we want to go to Morning America, and they warned me that the phones are going to ring off the hook when they announced this and they did the show. They did the show, and believe it or not, the phones would not stop ringing.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy cow, I actually got to make this now. And so I set out to go make the device, the first device, and from rapid prototyping, proof of concept, get it to market. And the first device had a lot of problems, had bugs, everything. Wasn't like worked great in a lab with a lot of duct tape and everything else to it, but and it wasn't pretty looking, it wasn't nice, it was horrible. But we got it out there, and I said I can just make it better. I'll make it better over time. I'll talk to my customers. Version 2 is going to come out. Version 3 is going to come out. Now we're on an eighth edition of device, and
Wow.
people love it.
Wow.
But from getting from that initial product to market and being late and customers screaming at me and where's my product and so forth, it was a roller coaster ride. And then you throw in the middle of all the trials and tribulations. One thing that we could talk about is that in the midst of growing a business and working with schools, what happened in 2020?
Yep.
COVID hit. So I went from making millions to zero. Within like 2 months, all of a sudden, oh, you got no more income. I was
Wow.
like, and I got a staff. I think if everybody works for me, they have families. I got mouths to feed. I got, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh. That was a terrifying time because I virtually didn't get my business back for almost 2.5 years.
Wow.
Because
How do you sustain? Are you comfortable talking about it?
yeah, so with my hardware that I sell, there's also a subscription model to it. So you buy the hardware, then your annual subscription fees, and then
Sure.
I was able to get some governmental PPP money. That helped. And then there's the magic word when you're doing any startup, you have to listen to what the market's giving you. So the world was ending, so we said we're going to pivot. And so we pivoted and we started making a device that we call Symptom Sense, which is a medical gateway, and it scanned for the symptoms of COVID.
Wow.
So I already have an engineering team. And it looks like the size of an airport body scanner.
Wow.
You'd walk through it, and we scan you for all your vitals and try and predict if you have COVID or not. I was able to sell that device all around the world.
Wow.
And so I actually put one in Buckingham Palace. I sent two over to Russia, to the Kremlin. I put NBA was buying them, Major League Baseball, NFL.
I was gonna say, I feel like I walked through one of those at Yankee Stadium. No bullshit. Like right when the ball games opened up again, like after security, it was like a symptom checker instead of a.
Yeah, we weren't doing no temperature check. You walk through my gateway.
Yeah, yep. I think I feel like I did that.
And so one police plaza had two of them there. I mean, they were all over the place. Then COVID stopped. No one wanted to buy it anymore, so I went back to making my vape detectors.
Relics.
But now you have to learn to pivot. That's the key thing. Any entrepreneur has to learn how to pivot. And you also have to learn how to accept failure and be willing to get back up. You only fail when you stop trying. So I just keep going, and then sometimes I'm too dumb to stop. So I just bludgeon myself to we're gonna get this done.
I could talk about that topic all day long. I riff on that on LinkedIn all the time, just to get a rise out of people, which is the relationship with failure. Like, I don't even know what that word means. Like, you can fail if it's lights out. You can fail if you like totally kill the business and do not pivot. I just like go back to, golden parachute. But like, I don't even know what it means to fail. I know what it means to collect data. I know what it means to change course and pivot and make new decisions and find new value propositions and try. But I don't even know what failure means. Even if we talk about failure from like the easiest one, which is like fail a test. Like, all right, that's a data point again. Like, it doesn't mean you're a failure at being a student forever. You might be. That might be the culmination.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. There's always another lick. And you might be a hell of an entrepreneur just because you failed all those exams. You might just be a heck of a businessman and school wasn't for you. So I could talk about failure all day long, but I'm going to pivot on you for a second.
Okay.
One of the common things that I see over our conversation so far brings us back to your morning routine and your athlete persona. And so the discipline and the determination. And so I see those two things as common characteristics within Derek that I think a lot of people are also going to resonate with. And I want to change it away from business just a little bit, because I, like you, have a relationship with fitness. I have that as part of my routine, and that's something that is just helping me to stay on the rails. It's a place to go and catch some free thought, change the narrative for a minute. I have a different side of my brain that has knowledge about fitness, wellness, and nutrition. Yep. And so it allows me to kind of just think creatively about a different realm. So I wonder if we could actually expand, because I think an entrepreneur is a complex individual, and you have to have facets of your individual to be a well-rounded entrepreneur, especially if you have partners or investors or you're hiring people. Like, as an operator, people want to find me as an interesting person, not just, clicking on keyboards all day long and waving wands. So I'd love to catch a little bit more from you around your formula with discipline and determination in your lifestyle, because I'm clearly seeing that as a common characteristic in business.
Absolutely. So I am a highly disciplined person. I mean, so I can, you give me a routine, I can follow a routine. You give me a diet, I can stick to the diet. I mean, I'm cut like that. Like I said, every morning, rain or shine, no matter if I got 2 hours of sleep, 1 hour of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, I'm going to the gym. I drag myself up and I'm getting to the gym to get my workout in. That's, if I'm breathing, I'm working out in the morning. And that just sets my day right. And the better the workout I have, my office gets a little crazy, because then I all of a sudden I come in all endorphins firing. I'm like, let's go, everybody, we can do it. And they're like, oh my gosh, what did you do today? And my gym routines are not really like anybody else's routines. It's like I'm usually that guy. People are like, you see that guy over there? I'm the guy doing the calisthenics, the muscle ups, everything else. The handstands, the handstand push-ups with no wall. I mean, that's me, and always hanging out with the people half my age, because they give me the best competition. I said, all right, let's compete. All right, what are we doing today? And
I
so
love that.
I naturally I'm my own worst enemy. I push myself. And so, like, I happened to see a couple of weeks ago watching TV and on the news, and I see Harry Styles did a sub 3 hour marathon. I'm like, what? He did that? All right, I guess I gotta do this now. So I'm literally training to do a sub 3 hour marathon in April. So I'm gonna get this.
Did you just run New York Marathon?
I did not. I ran New York Marathon in the past. I did not do that one this year. But I'm planning on going to Vienna, Austria, to do
Wow,
this
cool,
marathon. And I
cool,
want
cool.
sub 3 hours. So I'm like pushing right now.
I
That's
love
running
that.
at a 6:50 pace.
That's brutal.
It is. It is
That might be
pain.
my fastest mile of all time. Was like in 640, 650 range
Yeah. So that's
ever.
what
1 mile.
I'm training like that 3-4 times a week.
Wow, that's incredible. And
You
I
know, let
think
me
it
say something
really.
about the gym also. You talk about
Yeah,
discipline.
tell me.
I find my best hires from my morning gym session.
From
I
your
see
gym session. I thought you
so
were
I
going to say
see
something
people
else,
I
which is
see
they
some
have
people
that.
coming to the gym that dedicated the competitors, and I say, you know what? Once I get to know them and talk to them, you'll be great in my marketing department. You'll be great in this department for me,
Hmm.
and they become the best employees.
Wow, I love that. We do something kind of similar, which is like I hire engineers that have had a background in sales or service before they became engineers, not traditional computer science guys. And what I find, especially in a service-based business, everybody's very customer focused and facing. I like to find individuals that are super well-rounded, have activities outside of work. Like some of our best guys are nomadic surfers, so
Okay.
like finding these people that are just about their lifestyle and happen to be great engineers as well, but have also
Mm.
experienced like the work environment of client services, of just working in a restaurant and like
That's key.
navigating
That's
shit and
key.
like so similar. But I thought you were going to go in a different route slightly, which is you like to hire people that have that routine as part of their life, but you went even a step further, which is I need to see the white of your eyes and actually prove the ethic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
And
that's
speak
that's
about the
another step.
engineers. Like I have a group of engineers here that I don't let see customers.
I understand that one too.
I don't know. You guys stay in the back.
I understand that one too. And for multiple of reasons. A, it could be distracting. B, you guys are better off not speaking to anybody. Right.
Yeah.
I fully understand that one too. Yeah. I
Not to put
fully get
anybody
it.
down, but you guys just stay over there. We're
Hey,
good.
hey, hey. Some people got to just stay doing what they do best, and
I always
everything
tell them,
else is
stay
a
in your lane.
distraction.
Stay in your lane. That's about it.
That's correct, man. I fully hear that one. Well, let me this is a self-serving question because like you, like my routine has been impacted over the years as I build this business. The business is really like kind of primary as far as where my discipline and time domain per day is allocated. Things like the gym are often impacted for me. So, for example, I have young children. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old almost. And so I
Congratulations.
used to have, thank you very much. I used to have a morning routine. Doesn't exist anymore because my
Mhm.
morning routine is now with my kids and getting them going, and they're variable. And like, you can't count that your kid's going to wake up at 9 o'clock every morning. She often does not. She's up at 4, she's up at 5:30, like whatever. It's kind of a variable. So I've changed my routine to where now I go to the gym at night, 9:30 to 11 or
Okay.
10 to 11 or like whatever I can fit in on that daily basis. So I wonder from your perspective, you've had longevity with the discipline. How
Yes.
are you prioritizing? Like what is your fixed time domain? Is work still like your daily fixed time domain? Is the gym like your non-negotiable? And how have those things changed over the
What?
years?
Oh no, the gym can be negotiable. Just depends what I have coming up. I mean, because I also travel a lot too. So when I travel, I got to make sure there's a hotel that's got a good gym there. Uh,
I agree with that one.
unless I'm going to be running in that wherever I'm at. But there's no. You have to allow for myself. I have to also be flexible. Be willing to bend and not be so rigid all the time. And I mean, I'm also a very spiritual person, and the Bible will talk about that fitness is of some value.
Mhm.
It's not the end all be all. Although I like it a lot, it's not the end all be all. I'm not going to whine and cry in a corner if I can't work out. And if that's the case, a lot of times, if I have not gone to the gym, which is very rare, I'll challenge myself when I get to the office. Before I walk out of my office to talk to anybody, I'll hit 50 push-ups, then I go
Mhm.
out. I'll do stupid things like that. So just to make sure that I'm staying fit and true to myself.
I love that. Little formulas to just keep us on pace. If you stop completely, again, that might be considered a failure. But this is just about longevity and keeping going. And this all relates back to the path of entrepreneurship and finding roadblocks and different avenues of no is all data and helping us find our way back to what actually works.
Another thing also, you have to have goals. So there's always goals of the business, there's fitness goals. So I'm always writing new goals. All right, reach that goal, next goal, reach that goal, next goal. And so it's always trying to reinvent myself. Matter of fact, speaking of goals, since we're talking about entrepreneurship and everything else, I'm actually going back to school right now.
You kidding? For
I'm
what?
I'm studying for my doctorate in biomedical engineering because I want to
Wow.
make life-saving devices for the heart.
Wow. 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 Amazing. Wow.
And so I'm in my second year right now. So I go to school with I call them the kids. I'm the old guy in the class.
Are you at
And
like Stony Brook locally or something
I'm
like
at
that?
Stony Brook, yes.
Amazing, amazing. Wow, that's got to be like a master class for those kids too, because they're
Once
getting
they
an
like, I just go to
education.
class like I'm a nobody. I don't really, but once they slowly start discovering who I am, and
Wow,
next thing you know, he'll like ask me for jobs and
I believe it.
talking to me. He's like, "Oh wow, that who that guy is?"
I believe it. Wow, that's so cool. And like, who's better suited to kind of get into that door, especially from the hardware and and that perspective. Wow, my
Mhm.
brain's going a million miles an hour because it's definitely on my list. Once upon a time, I went pre-med. My goal was to become an entrepreneurial doctor somewhere in like
All right, since
neurosciences or
since we're,
plastic
since
surgery.
we're unpacking everything, and you want to, for those listening to us, they want to know how to overcome adversity.
Yes, that was
I
where I
want
was
these
going. You're
listeners
ahead
to
of me.
know you're not even ready for this one. So 3 years ago, I laid on my deathbed because I had to have open heart surgery. I had
You're
an
kidding.
aortic aneurysm. My heart was getting ready to explode. It was dilated 8.1 centimeters. I had to have emergency surgery.
Holy smokes.
So I was incapacitated, taken out, down for the count. They were like, 1, 2, you're not coming back.
No.
And so that's what happened. I recovered from that. And now I know I'm going to go out. I'm going to help save the world because nobody should go through what I just went through. And so, therefore, my goal is to make life-saving devices to do predictive analysis before somebody
Very
actually has to
early
go through what I
detection.
went through.
Wow. Now you're speaking my language. I in 2015 I had ablation surgery on my heart because I had SVT, supraventricular tachycardia.
Mm-hmm.
And so also what was my early detection was actually the wearable devices that I was having.
Okay.
And I would slip into a tachycardic episode, but I was fit as shit at 2015. I was
Mm-hmm.
25 years old, just stupid fit, unfairly fit CrossFitter. And so my ability to maintain through those and continue to work and like continue to perform and fine. Had that been at 45 years old, we might be having a little bit of a different story because I was exploding to 220 beats a minute. And so I
So,
also had life saving, but I was using early wearables, believe it or not, to monitor my episodes until my cardiologist got involved, of course. And then I'm wearing this crazy contraption device and trying to get EKGs and all these
mm-hmm.
other things that are monitoring my performance till I got MRI led ablation surgery.
Yeah.
And so I'm equally fascinated. That also just like sent me down the rabbit hole of just catching a wild education. I'm like a 4-time certified personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I have all sorts of things. We don't have to unpack all that. It's not about me, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
sometimes it's an impetus.
yeah, I was like you. I was super fit too. I only found out because I broke my thumb playing basketball.
Your thumb?
I broke my thumb playing basketball. I went to go have hand surgery. And during the pre-screening, they said, "You got a bigger problem." I said,
Oh shit.
"Forget your thumb. We're going to cut you open and work on your heart."
No way.
Yeah. So they cracked my chest like a lobster, and there we go.
How old were you?
58,
No, were you?
55.
Holy smokes. And that's just from fitness. And like, so some of this is like genetic predisposition. And
There's
so
zero, no genetics.
no genetics.
No, nobody ever in my family ever had heart problem whatsoever.
What a wild. So Amazing. And I'm glad you're here and have the story. And now you're using it as motivation to go and catch an education, but also to move your technical business and skills into early detection and
Well,
life saving life
here's a
for others.
life threatening event, and I still maintained my business, still ran everything, still kept going.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm not gonna let it knock me out.
For me, mine was like, again, I was 25 years old. I already had like a bit of a heart condition. I got to get monitored 2 times a year. Like, it definitely is a part of my life and in my mind. And it's kind of the reason behind I do the things that I do. But it was also that original motivating factor that was like, life is potentially too short. You better become the entrepreneur that you always wanted to become. And, 10 years later, that's what I did. Like, I started to sunset a career. I left my career at around 27, 28, but like, I started putting the blocks in motion after that episode to say, this is what I really want to do. And my story of building my business, you met my partner, Mike Rispoli. He's been my best friend since I'm 15 years old. This is just God's plan. Like, we haven't been talking about this since we were 15 years old. We were
Sure.
like pot smoking idiots, just climbing at the local rock climbing gym. Like, we didn't really know what was going on. So this is all by chance that these things happen. And I follow opportunity, and I become passionate about the things that are presented to me. And this was one of those things I was just like, put my mind on the opportunity of entrepreneurship. And Cause of a Kind, what I built, our service-based agency business, people don't see like the 4 or 5 failures that happen trying to build a product, trying to build an apparel company, trying to build other things before we ended up saying, we should probably just sling what our core competencies are and make a business out of that. So
Sure.
all this is by chance. All this is by
Excellent.
chance. Well, Derek, you and I could chop it up all day long, and I think
I can see that.
I think we plan to. I think we plan to. It's really amazing to have met you, and we met in like a really inconspicuous way, and like there was countless people in that room that I didn't shake hands with and didn't have a moment of exchange with, and for some reason, at Ernst and Young for Accelerate Long Island, and
Mhm.
shout out again to Dan Lloyd at the end here,
Absolutely.
put us in the same room at the same time and told us to connect. And it has been an absolute pleasure to hear your story and to learn from you and to feel camaraderie and not so lonely. And I appreciate you so much for joining the episode and giving it your all.
It's been a pleasure, Justin. Nice talking to you and chopping up, as you said.
Yeah. And I think we'll find some extra time. And I run the Long Island Technologists community here. So we got another event coming on December 9th. Maybe I can convince you to come out.
Oh,
Maybe one
please.
day you'll hold the stage and give a presentation on the advent of hardware in schools. And yeah, I'm sure this is just the start. And I appreciate you for joining this episode of Strictly from Nowhere.
Okay, it's been great.